raw, real, absolute wisdom. In Raw, we look at real people, real life stories, how they have managed to pass through the fears, managed to come over their failures, and learned to create, develop their own formula for success. I am your host, Rohit Basi. Shh. Do you hear that? Can you listen to the sound surrounding you? On the show today, we have Zarine Dadachanji. Zarine is a facilitator for guided sound and gong meditation. She is an energy intuitive and facilitates her golden energy healings and space clearings. She has facilitated these sessions all over the UAE, in England, France, the US, Karachi, and Kuwait. Let's meet Zarine now. Today, we have the wonderful gong lady, as I would like to say her. Actually, she's not a gong lady to me. She's more of a mother figure to me. Her name is Zarine. We welcome you to this podcast, Zarine. For the record, your full name.
So it's Zarine Dadachanji.
Okay. Now, where does that come from?
So the name was given by my mother and by my father, of course. And, and the surname is my married surname. So the family name of my husband. Okay. And we have 2 beautiful daughters and an amazing son. I was born originally in India, Bombay, and I grew up in Pakistan because my dad was from Karachi and my mom was from India. And we belong to the Zoroastrian Parsi community. We are now Canadian and we've been in Dubai 25 years.
Oh wow, been here quite a long time.
Yes, and that's amazing. I have seen Dubai change from what it was then to now, not just physically and the buildings, etc. as a city, but also the ethos of the community and the leaders. Everything has changed energetically. It is so much more welcoming. It is so much more open. It is amazing that, of course, we have the happiness ministry and the beautifully aware and conscious happiness minister. Also the awareness in the city of energy and how it works. And the welcoming of so many new yoga centers and open events on the beach with things like kirtan happening. Also a lot of people now looking for ways and programs and sessions to go within and to heal the anxiety and the stress that happens in a corporate world like Dubai. Okay. Not just the organizations, but even the schools and the students. Government ministries. We have been working very closely with some of the government ministries, and Diva has done sessions with us, Dubai Police has done sessions with us, and everybody is looking for that formula basically where they can be in a space of peace and calm, even if it's just for 1 hour. Okay. And I feel blessed that we can offer something like that.
Let's look at it, because you can see, you've got the lovely gongs over here,
yes.
And you've got the lovely bowl over here, which is filled up with water and the rose.
Yes.
Let's come to this in a while.
Okay.
Now, before doing this, all of this, I've known you for, I think, 8 or 9 years.
Yes.
You did something else completely different.
Yes, I was a teacher for 35 years of my life. I taught at one of the international schools here for 14 years, and then got interested in meditation and met amazing souls along the way and moved into this alternative practice, which we can talk about later.
Yeah. Now, Tell me a bit about your teaching life, because you did it for quite a long time.
Yes, I still love my
And you're still teaching,
yes,
in one way.
Yes. So I like to say that when parents were upset that I was not teaching anymore, I would joke with them and say, the children are coming wise, it's the parents we need to educate now. And true enough, I have some of my students from the school that I taught at in Dubai coming to my sessions.
Oh, wow.
And I love to stay in touch on social media with them. I follow them. There are lots of families that actually come to me now that belonged to my students, that my students belong to rather, for guidance. When the children are either stressed or, moving away from the family, or when they cannot comprehend what is going on in their lives, in case a child moves into depression. There are times when I just sit at a coffee shop and talk to the entire family and, allow them to move into a space of better understanding and better comprehension of what is happening in a family dynamic, basically. So it works beautifully. And then, of course, I continue staying in touch with them, and it's always amazing.
So teaching life, and now what you're doing, when did the shift happen? And
almost
why?
the same time that we met, Rohit. It was, I attended the session, I went to listen to one of the gentlemen that became my teachers, and I decided to resign the next morning. And that's exactly what I did. Please don't ask me what he said. But it was a difficult decision because I love teaching and I loved my students. And of course, I had to finish my contract months, but I did give in my resignation the next morning.
Okay. And through the years, from what I remember, it did not start with gongs.
No.
It was something else.
Yes. It started with me attending a lot of different healing teachings. So different modalities of healing. I would attend workshops, and the lady that was running the workshops once requested me to do a meditation because the lady who was supposed to do it was not there that day. And
so you just fell in.
And initially I said no. And then I thought to myself, okay, I'm a teacher, I can do this. And so I agreed, and that's how it started.
Okay, interesting.
And so earlier it was just a guided meditation with music in the background. And then a couple of ladies attended one of my sessions and asked me to come to one of theirs where they would be playing the gongs and practicing for their training. And so I went and I just sat there and fell in love with the gongs. And one of the ladies became my first teacher.
So she was your first teacher. So
Yes.
Through your journey of becoming more fluent with the gong, how many teachers have you gone to? Where have you gone? What has your experience, your learning experience been?
Yes, so basically I always say, and it doesn't matter what you are doing, that the learning never ends. So it is, especially in this world today where everything changes at such a rapid pace, it's always important to keep up with new learnings and new teachings with different teachers. And so I went to England 2 years in a row to learn from the Grand Gong Master, Don Conroe, who, bless him, is 85 years old but travels the world, and every month he's in a different city teaching the gongs. And so learning from Don was an amazing, humbling experience. You just have to sit with him to imbibe the wisdom. And there have been other gong teachers along the way. There have been books, there have been videos, there have been teachings online. And so not just with the gongs, but with everything else that complements the gongs, we just simply need to continue the learning almost to the end, I would say, because new techniques, new instruments, wherever I travel, I pick up something or the other, and things expand. And the only thing that I also have held on to as a learning is that we see a difference between music and sound, where sound therapy is concerned. Because in music you have like a pattern, a rhythm, a tune, a sequence.
Yes.
And that holds the mind. Whereas in sound, you try not to have a pattern, a sequence, a rhythm, and a tune. And so the mind tries to keep up, but fails to keep up, and then moves away. And that is where the effect goes into the subconscious.
Okay.
And that is where the healing basically begins to happen, the cleansing, the clearing, the relaxation. When the sound is able to move the mind away, the body begins to go deeper and deeper into relaxation.
Okay, so here's a big question.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah?
Not to be shocked.
No.
How many people say this is Mumbo Jumbo?
Before they have the experience, quite a few come in very reluctantly. Sometimes family members bring them in. Sometimes they may have had another experience that wasn't as pleasant.
Yes.
And sometimes people will wonder, could it be that easy? Because we like to say that it's the simplest method of meditation because you're not doing anything, you're just lying there. It can be either lying down or sitting. And we don't ask you to fight your thoughts. We just ask you to allow your thoughts to flow and just let the sound do what it needs to do for you. And this is where the water bowl can probably come in, because we explain how sound works with the body with the water bowl. May I show it to you now?
Yeah, sure, please.
So,
Then I have another question on that.
Yes.
Oh wow, look at the water.
And so when the water bubbles, we explain that this is vibration, and sound works on your body through the water in our body, which is 70 to 80% are the liquids as well, and they're wonderful conductors for sound. And so when you listen to the sounds of the gongs, the sound enters through every pore of your skin. The whole body becomes like a giant ear, and the sound is then taken to every cell in your body that needs any kind of rest, any kind of relaxation, any kind of cleansing, clearing, restructuring, rejuvenating, and healing at a very deep cellular level. And so scientifically, they have an explanation for this as well.
Okay.
Where, because we are made of atoms, and atoms have electrons, and atoms and electrons vibrate. They vibrate at different frequencies depending on where in the body they are. And each electron can pick up the perfect frequency for itself from the sounds that emanate from the gongs. We call them the sounds of creation.
Okay.
Entrain to that perfect frequency and fall into this beautiful space of balance. And every system of healing will tell you that a balanced body is a body on its way to perfect health.
Okay.
And when we say perfect health, we don't just mean physical health, no aches and pains, etc. Yes, that too can be assisted by sound, but it's also emotional, at an emotional level, at a mental level, and at an auric or energy body level, basically. So when people come in and they lie down and they relax, they are without their phones for an hour and that itself
Hopefully.
is yes, no, usually, always, in fact, very blessed. Even when we go to corporates, everybody's very cooperative, and that in itself is such a huge thing in your awakened day-to-day life, because we hardly have that opportunity. And people leave with a happier frame of mind. We use a bit of aromatherapy when they come in and at the end of the session as well. And people usually leave smiling and happy, and they come back for more.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you've got the
bowls,
bowl,
yes.
singing bowls. That's
Yes,
what they
singing
call.
bowls. They can be metal or they can be crystal. Yes.
And then you've got the gongs. Now you said it's all about sound therapy.
Correct.
Let's say we don't have gongs, we don't have singing bowls.
Yes.
How do we use sound therapy to, as the essence said, to heal ourselves or get us into that balanced state?
So along with the sound that we do, usually there is a guided meditation, or at some points there are actually physical exercises that we do, especially when I go to schools. The children love the ball in schools, and they say to me, "Miss, where's the battery?"
Or where's the app?
And so for them in school, and even for adults, we have a session where we show them how to physically release anger, because anger can be stored in different parts of the body. And anger is a universal emotion that everybody has felt at some point in their life. And so when we show them the exercises to release anger, it's something that they take as a tool which they can use again and again. This is the aim of each session, whereby people can use the meditation and the techniques in their day-to-day life. Even if there is no sound, they go away with something that they can take with them. I find sound as also being the voice, Rohit. So if you don't have the musical instruments, you can do a guided meditation online or through so many of the apps. Plus, it just brings you that awareness of how important our voice and the words that we use and the tone in which we speak those words is in our day-to-day life and in our transactions and in our dialogues with people.
Give me an example of that. Give me an example of that.
So you have a lot of those words which you tell people not to use. So for example, my favorite example is when you use the word understand. Okay. And it feels like you're taking the energy from the person when you say, "Do you understand what I'm saying?" You're making them kind of stand under you.
Oh,
basically.
understand.
Yes.
Okay.
So I still use the word sometimes, but I kind of change it to comprehend. And if you feel the energy between these two words,
there's a difference.
It's beautiful. The other one is advice, which I feel is adding to vice, because advice comes from a place of ego. And so to use the word guidance is always so much more beautiful.
It's interesting you bring up the word advice. So I've had people say, "Oh, could you give me some advice?"
Yes.
And I turn around and say, I don't advise any people. I can recommend,
Yes.
I can suggest,
Yes.
but I'm not an advisor.
True.
Neither am I a counselor. I can only recommend
True.
and suggest. So it's interesting.
True.
And you said advice.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's quite interesting.
It's just my take or my perception of the words, but in the 4 agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz will say the first one is be impeccable with your word.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't just mean keeping your promises. It means actually being aware that every word you say and the tone in which you say it has first the effect on you, because it's coming out of your body and your energy and your vibration. It then moves out into the universe and changes everything with the ripple effect that we speak of. And then goes and affects the person with whom you are speaking. So it makes so much sense to firm up or to work through an awareness of what you are saying and how you are saying it, because your tone of voice can convey so much more than just the words themselves.
Now, here's the thing. Words, obviously, their sound is coming out. They are words, but they're sound.
Correct.
In my experience, when I've requested people to look at the words which they're using, there's this comeback. Why do I have to be so aware? This is so restrictive. How do you deal with such a scenario? What do you say to these people?
It takes me to what I very firmly believe in, us not trying to change others, because we cannot. But all we have to do is change ourselves. And then when they see the change in us and they ask, what is it that you are doing, or how is it that you deal with a certain situation? And then we guide if we are comfortable guiding. And that is where soul by soul the change happens in the world. So when you come back to this, it's for me, the saying that I like to use always, love is all there is. And in every situation, if you can guide people to ask, what would love do? whether it's a word, whether it's a deed, and even a thought for yourself, because self-love is so important. It's only when you love yourself and take care of yourself that you can love and take care of those around you. And so it's not selfish as a lot of people see it. But we have so many people awakening to the awareness now that unless you are taking care of yourself and loving yourself and your self-talk is positive, it will reflect in everything you say and do and affect those around you.
You mentioned earlier on, you worked with certain corporates, you've worked with the government. Your experience around that and how did they take care? Because this is very new, and especially being in the region where we are, how do they all take that, especially at the government level?
It's been very, very interesting. Working with Mind, Body, Soul, a happiness center, has been an eye-opener for me, because coming from centers which are oriented to, accept meditation and yoga and groups, private groups and people coming for sessions, etc. Moving into this allowed us to realize that at a basic fundamental level, every human being wants the same thing for themselves, wants to be happy, which is happiness. It cannot be permanent. It is a temporary state, depending on your hormones, depending on your physical, condition, etc. So happiness is a different topic altogether. But when we offer our sessions to governments and corporates, they see it as a relaxation session, which it is. But it does much more than just relax the person. And when we explain, especially when they see the bowl, they are intrigued and they want to experience what it would be like to feel the way we describe when we are explaining the bowl. So they go into it quite happily, and when they come out of it, they are truly amazed at the change. And you can actually see it on the face of people as they wake up. Sometimes we look at a person and we say, please go and look in the mirror, you're glowing, So, and those who have these very stressful jobs, like they have night shifts, or they are, really tired physically, they fall into such deep sleep with the session. Their bodies have never relaxed at a level that is so deep. It hasn't been scientifically proved, of course, but we have this belief that a 40-minute gong session will give you equivalent to 4 hours of sleep, basically, because you're so deep in rest and relaxation. And we always say in the beginning that people should listen to their bodies, that they can turn, they can cough, they can sneeze, they can fall asleep and snore, which truly happens, especially with the all men sessions that we have done for the government, because we do ladies separately and men separately. There is always this symphony of snores happening.
Symphony of snores.
And it's so beautiful because you feel, everybody is so deep in relaxation and rest. And it's truly something that they will always remember, basically.
Now, question arises is, you said 40 minutes. I don't have 40 minutes. A lot of people say, I don't have 40 minutes. What is something they can do on a day-to-day basis, on the move, which will help them, assist them? Because we live in a life, or we've moved ourselves into a life of being on the move, do.
Correct. Unfortunately, but true.
What kind of guidance can you give to you? Because I hear a lot of people, I can't do this. I don't have 40 minutes. I don't have half an hour. I don't even have 10 minutes. I don't even have 5 minutes. Okay, what about 30 seconds or 1 minute or even 2 minutes? What can you give them?
That's true. That brings me to the solution, which we have both studied. And it's a simple technique that we don't even call a meditation. It's a process where they bring the tips of their fingers and thumbs together, just place them gently in their lap, relax their shoulders. And within, I would say, if you have time, do it for 9 minutes, but otherwise 9 seconds is enough. And so we just guide them through that basic session where the body can fall into this space of balance, and both hemispheres of the brain start working together. They are better able to focus and bring their awareness to a situation. We teach it to schools as well. After the anger exercise, I show them how to bring their focus back to their work. And teachers have come back to say it is working amazingly in the classroom, because as soon as a child is confused or doesn't know what to do next, sometimes they see children sitting with their hands like this under the desk, and then in 2 seconds they are back and they are able to complete the project or complete the question. So it's really basic tools that we can give people that they can do on the run. Along with, of course, music and sound is beautiful. If you can go for it, if you can come for a session, it's always amazing. But a lot more people are actually making that time for themselves because they see the effect lingering over a period of days. So we never say to them, oh, you need to come to 10 sessions or you need to come to 5 sessions. It's always as and when they are pulled to a certain place for maybe a certain topic of meditation, or even a certain facilitator. We are so blessed that in Dubai now I've lost track because so many new people are learning about sound, but in such a small city we have more than 35 gong players.
Wow.
And more than 50 gongs now, and a lot more people learning the singing bowls and relaxation sessions with sound are becoming very, very popular.
So are you teaching them?
So it's a different system that I take people through, but yes, on the rare occasion I do teach.
Okay. Now,
Sorry. No, go ahead.
It's interesting you're talking about this. Now, a lot of people relate meditation or singing bowls or the gong or the other types of healings which are available out there as, why are people paying for it? Okay. What is your take on that?
So it's an interesting question, and I feel blessed that I work with centers and groups that are at a level of awareness where the feeling of abundance and prosperity is not looked at negatively. When people awake to the awareness that the universe has abundant supply and that we are not taking away from somebody, they go into this place of acceptance that not all work that you do, for example, if it's somebody's profession or vocation is a better word, where your passion becomes your profession and you are offering it as a service to the community, as a service to individuals, it is okay to be repaid for your time and your effort.
Question arises is, rather than looking at gongs or singing bowl, sound therapy, what is your take on it being used on a day-to-day basis by people, and how could they actually truly implement something like this into their life?
So besides the apps and all the technology and all the recordings that they have, sound in itself is not as we see it, where you come into a session and you work with it. Along with that, we offer you various tools and various practices that you can do on a day-to-day basis that can bring you to a space of center and balance, and where you can bring your focus back to the work that you are doing. A simple exercise that we offer students and adults alike is something called the solution. And it's just something you can do. If you have 9 minutes, you can do it in 9 minutes, or you can do it in 9 seconds, depending on where you are and how much of the exercise you need. So simple things like this. And besides that, we can always guide them to various techniques that they can do. For example, breath is beautiful. If you just take 3 really deep breaths in different ways, your body will once more come into balance. And your own voice is also a sound that you can work with. The humming, the chanting, the actual singing in the shower kind of thing will actually bring you back to a place where your energy rises and where you can feel that you are ready to face your day.
It's interesting you say that, because one of our common teachers, he actually told me, chant your own name.
That's so true. That is so true. Because you love hearing your name being said. And so why wouldn't you say beautiful things to yourself using your own name? It's something not anybody actually would know and would do. And that is a beautiful guidance as well.
It is. It does make a massive difference in your whole persona and how
your
you
vibration. Yes.
Here's-
And gratitude is something that I usually guide people to, and just being in these thoughts of gratitude, just anything that you can come up with. Thank you for my hands that hold, my eyes that see the beauty of the world, and you have this whole list that you can create of gratitude, maybe 3 things every night before you sleep, that will raise your vibration, and the universe sees, he or she is grateful, send him or her more things to be grateful about. Okay. And this is how the flow continues.
So this comes to a point of, so you've got so many children. We're not talking about your children, but all those teachers, all those children you've taught from that young age, they've come to your sessions. And usually what I've seen is when it comes to alternative therapy, they come to sound therapy or any other kind of therapy is because when they're at their low, when they're facing some kind of failure, what is that thing you can say to them that gets them, not necessarily just get up, but make them realize, how do you assist those people? How do you guide them? What do you recommend?
So just for a person at a level where they feel they've lost everything, or they've been a failure, or they are depressed or sad or lonely, it is very important for them to know that there is someone present that they can talk to honestly, that see them only through the eyes of love.
Okay.
And once they know that and they trust you or that person, it's easier for them to open up, to share their deepest fears, and then we guide them gently to move from fear into love. Because loving yourself and releasing the fears that you hold within you of being inadequate or not being enough or not having self-worth, not having self-esteem, everything stems from a lack of self-love. And when you can explain to them that moving into self-love is accepting yourself as you are, as perfect in this moment here and now, because that is what is needed in the present moment, as being enough. And then building on that layer upon layer upon layer. And again, gratitude plays a very important role in guiding children, especially young students, into a part of their lives where they see how much they actually have to be grateful for. And then building on that. So having somebody who listens to you, because parents, bless them and bless us, I mean, I've been in that position before. We tend to think from our negative limiting beliefs that we were brought up with. And so they will not see a child as struggling or as going through a situation that they feel they cannot help the child with. So guiding the parents on one side is good, but again, only with the permission of the child. Or the teenager, because if they feel that you're going, behind their back, then you've lost them. So just gentle guidance and knowing that you are there for them, that they can write to you at any time, that you will reply, and always being positive, always guiding them towards gratitude and love is, I feel, the best way to offer them different tools.
So gratitude plays a big part. We had on the podcast in Paul from Expert Learning, he spoke on gratitude, and that's where we started ending the actual interview.
Yes.
Now, coming to the end of this talk, we are being bombarded. It doesn't matter at what age, in which country you are. Social media, you've got television, you've got technology all over the place, and people defining that if you are not on social media or you don't have the right technology, you are not successful.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the success formula? Is that success mastery? Or what is it? What is it in your eyes? What would you say to all those students out there, all those kids out there, or even the adults, those kids who've turned into adults? What would you say to them in regards to what really is success?
So regarding technology, I feel that a balance needs to be maintained. So you're not on your phone 24/7. But I have found, especially for me, that being on social media spreads the awareness of what is happening in our field, basically, and what we are offering. And so it's good to have that. Yes, so it's the balance that matters. And again, it's being authentic that matters. So I would not guide the youth to portray a life that is not truly happening for them. And at the same time, there are those who are very open and very authentic and vulnerable with what they put out there, the content. So if they are going through a depressed stage, or if they are going through a failure, they will talk about it openly. And then you will be amazed at how many people are there to support you through that phase. I have had friends putting up physical issues or operations that family members are going through, asking for distant healing, asking for Reiki, asking for assistance, and just reading the messages of support that come to you make people feel that they are not alone in the world. So I see that positive side of social media if you can be true and honest and authentic on it. What was
the other thing was, does that define success? Because a lot of people see being on social media, on the media, having technology as being successful.
I would feel it plays a certain role, yes. But there are people I come across who will just openly say to me, I'm not on Facebook, I'm not on Instagram. Please send me information, through WhatsApp or through other means.
It's like me saying, it's not Facebook, send it through LinkedIn.
So I think we should allow people the freedom of choice. If they are not, and these people are successful, it's not that they're not successful in spite of not being on social media. So I guess there are formulas of success that work for different people at different stages in their lives. I've known people who have been on Instagram and suddenly dropped it completely, and gone into this phase of silence and retreating within and trying to find themselves and their journey without social media. So everything plays its part at different times in life. I think it's perfect timing. Whenever you feel uncomfortable, move off. Whenever you feel like going back, go back. I've seen people do this over a period of years, and it's worked for them, which is beautiful.
So before we close off, last question. What would you like the listeners to do with their lives as a whole?
I feel looking within and relying on yourself for your happiness is probably the most important message. I usually end most of my meditations with a few lines that say, your happiness lies within you. It does not depend on anyone or anything outside of yourself. In every 10 seconds of your life, you have a choice. You can choose to be happy. No matter where you are or with whom, and no matter what is happening around you, the choice is always yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank
really
you for
appreciate
inviting
it.
me.
I'm going to have you here on the show, bring you again, and
Bless
we'll
you.
talk more.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.